Did I spell the name very well? Thato Moeng? Okay, Thato Moeng, you had the floor. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know normally it's not easy to listen after eating. But anyway, thank you so much. A lot has been said about the internet. And as I sit and I listen and I hear everyone speak, there's just so much about internet. But in all the conversation, there is very little that's coming out about security. You know, I can see there are multi-layer. You know, I thought I knew quite a bit about internet. I know it's a complex issue. In fact, internet, as we know it, is more exacerbated by issues of dark webs and having virtual environments. Now we have VPNs, you know, and all sorts of things. And all those are instruments used in the cyber security or cyber crime. Now, I will not dwell too much about my credentials, etc. I'll go straight to the point. One of the things that I want to highlight is that in Africa, I know that we are still trying to improve accessibility to the internet, connectivity, building infrastructure. Maybe some countries, that's not our struggles. You know, there are a lot of disparities for obvious reasons why some people will be ahead than others, you know, economic issues, infrastructure, etc., dependencies. But what we learned from the advanced countries is that when the early adopters of the internet, they realized very quickly that internet security is very crucial. It's very important. We have seen a lot of instances, you know, at early stages. And some of you would have read about Androids. And up to today, you know, we have all kinds of scammers on the internet. And the question is, with this internet, you know, in its size, magnitudes, complexities, how do we build, how do we bridge? There's a demand for internet, yes, and there is a demand at all levels. You know, you're talking about a school, you're talking about NGOs, you're talking about multinational companies, you talk about everyone who wants to be on the internet. There's demand everywhere. But at the same time, you do have these predators who are out there and who are always ready, you know, to attack, to take advantage. So how do we work together? I see we are from different backgrounds, we are different stakeholders. How do we build this internet security? How do we factor in security in a coordinated manner, in a manner that all of us can keep track of where are we? In as much as we are discussing the internet, we are trying to build the internet. I think as I listen to this forum, it's more about taking stock. Where are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going? But at the same time, you can't do that without security. So South Africa and Africa in its broader sense, we are not immune to cyber crimes. You know, everybody is affected. There's all sorts of reports that we often hear. For example, if you look at the landscape of cyber crimes in these days, all these tools are for free. Hacking is not difficult, or to commit a cyber crime is not difficult. It's very easy. The tools are for free. There are free tutorials that you can engage on, and within 3 months, 6 months, committed, dedicated, you can hack an environment. And to hack in any event, it's basically gaining unauthorized access to one's computer device. So there is no method, there is no one way. So I listened to all the things that we've been discussing. Pulse, for an example, I could use Pulse like they were presenting as a resource. You know, if I want to attack environments where they have high speed, I want to work in an environment that has internet speed that is fast, I can use this tool to check your speed. We talk about IP addresses, DNS, for example, whether they're secure and all that. Those are resources. And me just being here, in fact, I'm more enlightened. I'm getting more insights on how actually one can attack at various levels. So I'm saying, if we have this type of levels and information and structures, how do we factor in security? How do we build in security? We continue to see a lot of attacks. These are just a sample. There's a whole lot of range of attacks out there. But for an example, the business email compromise is one popular thing. As you can see, some of the countries, and I think it supports what Pulse was saying here. Some of the countries like South Africa, Mauritius is also there. If you have high connectivity, if you have high internet usage, you are going to be a nice candidate for attackers, you know, and that's what it is. And a lot of businesses in South Africa, they suffer. I know even banks, I mean, if you look at a bank institution, they have all kinds of security arrangements in place from the people they hire, you know, the skills, the tools, the budgets, but they continue to be hacked. And unfortunately, they don't release this information. And if you were to realize how much banks are vulnerable, you know, you will not feel comfortable keeping your money in a bank. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Digital extortion also in Africa. These are just some of the trends that we are seeing. But remember, this is at a corporate level, but also at an individual level. You know, you are a professional, you could be hacked. You know, you could lose money, your information could be out there. There's so many things that can happen. So these are just ransomware. We have seen entities being hacked, the information held ransom, and then they are required to pay a ransom in the form of Bitcoins. So all these things, they are happening today as we speak. We are not talking about the future. We are talking about what is happening now. And all these things are happening on the internet or through the internet. And the question is, what do we do? How do we survive this? Yes. Some of the industries there, these are just, you can go through the slides. I know we are time constraints. I could spend a lot of time unpacking this, but there it was just to show you that we do have a problem. And by far, the traditional approach is not working. You know, buying an antivirus here, having the longest password, complexity, passwords, and all those things, they are not working. The reality is sometimes when we buy equipment, they come hacked. You know, most of us, we buy mobile devices. You don't know where this thing is manufactured, what malware or stealed information, software has been, or hardware that has been built into this device, you know, and you are a government entity or you are a business, you are buying this device hoping that it's out of the box, it's safe. But in reality, it's not. That's why you see some countries, for an example, they ban software products. So for an example, you remember in America, they banned a Kaspersky because it is manufactured where in Russia, it's from a Russian company, and they felt that they are stealing information, selling it. And TikTok, same story. There's a China and America story there. And the question is, we're seeing more and more of these trends. You know, there's another company also, they manufacture hardware. They were also, I don't want to mention their name, but also they were accused of all kinds of things. So hacking, it's not only about a bad guy, but also you do have corporates that are going to give us devices. And how do we know that these devices? So by just having all this traditional approach is not going to work. And the question is, all of us here in the room, how do we work towards a common framework, common solution beyond, and I'm talking in an African context, that here's Africa. How do we solve this problem without importing solutions that are from outside? You know, why can't we produce our own antivirus in Africa? If we were to take a few guys from Ghana, Nigeria, Mali, South Africa, we mix, and these are developers, and we produce our own thing. It's an open source thing. We have one portal, we publish it. Anybody can download this and use it. We're talking about digital certificates. We're talking about VPNs. There are so many other products that we could develop ourselves without empowering and enriching countries. And we don't know, we're using their products. We don't know if these products are safe. You believe what the salesperson is telling you. You believe what their review is all about, and the charts they give you that, look, this is what our tool and our product is able to do. But in reality, those things don't work. You know, it's like home security. Home security in South Africa, for an example, you have a lot of homes that have ADT, these security companies, but many they are burgled. Why? If these guys are so effective, they are so secure, Why do we have so many homes broken into, home invasions? So I'm saying to you, whatever that is commercialized, it does not guarantee results always. So you need to find different ways to solve these problems. And I'm thinking here, my presentation really is just about to help us think here. What can we do to contribute towards? So we could have, for an example, the shared responsibility, rapid technology advantage. So there's a need for us to work together, cross-border. And if we're going to talk also about the issue of cross-border, I know I love Pan-Africanism, but unfortunately, Africa is not homogeneous. So you may find that what is a cyber crime issue here in another country is it's not an issue. You may find that privacy is an issue somewhere it's not an issue. So also, how then extraditions? If I'm here in South Africa and I attack somebody in Congo and I defraud this person, what arrangements do we have as countries just beyond the normal ones? You know, we need to have cyber arrangements where we can extradite somebody quickly, you know, for cyber crime. Can we not have such arrangements? Because technology has no border. Internet has no border. Cybercrime has no borders. So if we operate in that space, how do we create an environment? So these are just some of the things, and I appreciate all the structures that are here. This is the right platform. Let us think about these sort of things. And I'm thinking that in future or next year, if we meet again, we need to take stock and say, what is the action plan? Before we start talking about many other things I hear, 4IR, artificial intelligence, those things, they are good, but we need to start somewhere small, pragmatic, you know, start building our own solutions, building our own tools, you know, basic things. And I know we have government representative now and then, and maybe in another forum, there will be even a broader government representative. Then we can talk policy on issues of extradition. Can we agree on the common rules when it comes to cybersecurity and policing, how when we arrest people, all those things, how do we have cooperation when it comes to those activities? So to protect Africa and to safeguard Africa, there was one NGO, you know, they have, I think, about 5,000 kids in their network, children in their network, and they use basic computers. And if you look at what the type of information they have in those computers, it's information about these children, their history, where they come from, their parents, where they go to school. So child trafficking is real, it's rife. It will take somebody to simply gain access to that information and sell it. Tell me, what child do you want? I have a database. And you send somebody who will go and snatch and sell. So how do we, NGOs, we know since COVID, it's tough. They can't even afford to buy basic necessities, let alone then security. Yet we want to connect them. And how many NGOs do we have in Africa who are like that? Who are supported by UNICEF and all these other big funders. And they find themselves in this sort of predicament. And how many children end up in other shores, in other countries, because somebody has access to this information and they're just picking. So these are things that we need to think about when we are going to discuss internet governance, access to internet governance, and let's come up with solutions and work towards a solution. So of course, there are benefits when we work together in this forum and many other forums. And I do have a lot of solutions. I did not want to take the podium today to talk about myself, but I thought, let me just speak about this issue. But I believe outside this forum, there are many solutions. We can start somewhere. And if we work together, all of us in this room here, I believe we can achieve so much. So I think that is the gist of what I wanted to say without really, and all these things that I've been saying, you can go to some of this material, the National Cybersecurity Strategy. They do have some of the information that I've been outlining, and some of the strategies, some countries that are trying to make inroads, but we are working in silos. That's the problem. You know, and we then put one country in a palace state that the first country will be this one, the second country, the third country. It should not be like that. It should be Africa, this is where we are. All of us, we are working, we have a multi-stater group, it's a cybersecurity arrangement. If that group progress, all countries represented in Africa progress, we will not have these diagrams or charts where we rate who's doing what, who's not doing what. You know, we all know that we live in a continent where we have different challenges. Some things are important to others, yeah, and some are not so important. So we are not at the same level, but if we work together, we contribute, there will be a solution that is accessible to anybody who wants to use it. And that's the direction that we must take. And that's what we are, I'm hoping for. So all these issues, when it comes to coordination, resource allocation, international cooperation, they will be addressed if we work together, if we pull together. And in closing, what do we need? What am I actually proposing? Because I say there's a problem, and I say, yes, what we are promoting is good. But unfortunately, it comes with huge responsibility. Internet comes with a huge responsibility. I often say, anybody who has internet, and you don't have any form of security, you are like somebody who's driving a car. The car does not have brakes. There's no airbags. There's lights are not working. Indicator lights are not working. Nothing is working, but this car is moving. You are like that person. You can only imagine what would happen. So it's exactly that. So we do have skills, I want to believe, in Africa. So why can't we mobilize those skills? You know, programmers, I often hear people, coders. Where are these coders? People run programs, people get funding. Where are the coders? Why can't they produce a basic antivirus if we are coding? I mean, if China is doing it, Russia and many countries are doing it, why can we not do it? And tools, there are many other tools. Open source, you don't have to own any of these things. I mean, there's a lot of templates. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to take what's available, adapt it to our environment, talk to Africa, and we utilize it for ourselves. And it's accessible. There should be a portal I can go to. I don't have to go to this brand or that brand or that brand to download an antivirus. I'm just making an example. There should be a website where I can go to, I just download this thing, I install it, it's for free. And of course, if I run a business and I want credibility, if I'm accountable to the board of directors and I want to explain where am I in terms of security, I'll tell them we have this company, they have so many years in the business and it's a different ball game. We are targeting a different audience. So we can collaborate, all of us, we can work together and it is possible. So I'm hoping that next year or when we meet again, we can have a different conversation that after this, you know, let's not have talk shop, but after this, we have identified the following individuals. We have this working group, and this is what they have produced, and this is what, and that's the direction. If we start doing things that way, we will go far. Otherwise, we are going to have a huge, serious disaster in Africa as soon as the internet is everywhere, the way we want it. We were going to have a generational problem that cannot be reversed ever. Already you look at the young children who are addicted to the mobile devices with no filters, nothing. It will take just a few misspelling and this child is somewhere. And a lot of this YouTube and all that, they already know, they can tell when a child is watching and they can tell when an adult is watching, they can tell when a male figure or female figure is watching their products. I mean, their programs. And they feed the kind of information that they want to. So what can we do to resolve this problem? So in conclusion, what I'm proposing is that there is a problem. What we are doing is good, but we must be mindful there is a problem. How do we fix this problem? All of us in this room here, we have, and this thing does not require a lot of money. It's not money. Let's not talk budgets, big budgets here. But it's a will. It's about coordinating. It's about organizing ourselves and saying the security aspect from an African context, how do we fix it? Thank you so much, colleagues.
Okay, thank you. Adelaide Aramato has raised a hand, so I'll take that questions. And there is a question in the chat okay, related to the Malabos conventions, but as I said, maybe you may say a few things, but I don't want us to have a discussion on the Malabo conventions or how bad we are in Africa, etc. on this, because I think you agree that it's doable, right? Is it doable or is hopeless?
No, I'm saying it's doable.
It's doable. Okay, Adelaide, I will allow you to speak. Can you hear us? Unmute yourself and then ask your question. Oh, okay. So she's okay, she's not coming in. So is there any question, comment in the room? So okay, so maybe I'll proceed for them, because our colleagues Africans after lunch they don't work hard. But after the coffee, if you come after the coffee, they'll fight you. But now they're in a digestion mode, and so when you mentioned the MS initiative, you listed some of the things, but I didn't see the Africa set. Africa set. I saw some, or maybe you included Africa set inside the AF star. Okay, now, and then the other thing is, I think it may be good that some of the statistics you show at the beginning, you tell us the source, because these things sometimes, if I take the data from this side compared to the other side, they don't give us the same thing. So maybe the source will be great. So this is what I have. So any final comment, remarks from you? So
Yeah, no, all I'm saying is you're correct. I'm not bashing Africa. I'm not saying we are useless. We can't do anything. I'm saying we are capable. Let's start thinking of doing our own, formulating our own solutions, in our own space. We want to have a better Africa. It starts now, and if you want to have this united Africa, it starts somewhere. I think technology can bridge a lot of things quicker. If we work together and we come up with solutions, we all have different strengths. It can't be Kenya, it can't be South Africa only, and Mauritius, and one of you. I don't believe in that. I believe that everybody in a classroom is bright. I don't believe in bright sparks in the classroom. So I believe everybody. So as a continent, I see it is a big class. All of us are intelligent. So let's think deep in our hearts, in our minds, in our backgrounds, in our experiences, in our pockets. And yeah, let's make a difference. That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Round of applause for him. Yes, so when you were speaking, I can see some people's faces, but it looked like people were working on the devices, but they felt like, oh, we are not secure. These things are not secure. Am I being hacked? Maybe. In the early days when we come to AFNOG, we trying to snip a bit